Top 10 Treasures Stolen from Africa by Colonialists. Hello explorers, welcome to another informative video presented to you by Displo, and thanks for watching. In this video we shall be presenting to you the top 10 treasures stolen from Africa by Colonialists. During the raid of colonizers in Africa, they left the continent in a less wealthy way than they met it, as they carried so much from Africa. From its people, raw materials, culture and even treasures, the colonizers loathed everything. Thousands of cultural artifacts were plundered and have never been returned. African countries want them back, and major museums across Europe have agreed to loan some of these famous treasures back to Africa. Now, France has launched a report calling for thousands of African art in its museums to be returned to the continent, but the process of returning these treasures are taking forever, and so we hope with a video like this we can reminisce on the glorious artifacts that represented the great African continent before they were taken away. If you're new here, welcome. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our videos. The true number of treasures stolen from Africa will never be accounted completely, and the number of them could fall anywhere into the millions, but here are some of the top 10 treasures stolen from Africa by colonialists. Number 1. Maqdala treasures stolen from Ethiopia by Britain. The Maqdala treasures include an 18th century gold crown and a royal wedding dress taken from Ethiopia, formerly Abyssinia, by the British Army in 1868. Historians say 15 elephants and 200 mules were needed to cart away all the loot from Maqdala, Emperor Tewodros II's northern citadel capital. The British raided Maqdala in protest at the detention of its consul when relations between the two powers deteriorated. The crown, admired for its silver and copper filigree designs and religious embossed images, and royal wedding dress are significant symbols of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. Scholars believe that the crown was commissioned in the 1740s by Empress Mentewwab and her son King Iyyasu and given as a gift to a church in Gondar, together with a solid gold chalice. The dress and jewelry belongs to the Emperor Tewodros II's widow, Queen Woyzaro Terunesh. Ethiopia lodged a claim in 2007 for the return of the antiques, and the V&A offered to return the treasures to Ethiopia on loan, but that is still to happen. Number 2. Bangwa Queen, stolen from Cameroon by Britain. The 81 cm tall Bangwa Queen is a wooden carving from Cameroon, representing the power and health of the Bangwa people. It is one of the world's most famous pieces of African art and has huge sacred significance for Cameroonians. Sculptures were made of titled royal wives and princesses and would be referred to as Bangwa Queens in the Bangwa land of present-day Lebialem district of Cameroon's southwest region. The Bangwa Queen is thought to have either been given to or looted by the German colonial agent Gustav Conrad around 1899 before the territory was colonized. It ended up in the Museum für Volkskunde in Berlin and was then bought by an art collector in 1926. According to the New York Times, U.S. art collector Harry A. Franklin bought the carving in 1966 for $29,000, and after his death it sold at the Sotheby's auction for $3.4 million. Surrealist portrait photographer Man Ray also included the Queen of Bangwa in a 1937 portrait of a nude model in what the New York Times says became one of his famous images. The Draper Foundation in Paris, France now owns the Bangwa Queen sculpture, and it was still on display at the Musée de Paix until 2017, when the museum that focused on African arts closed because of low attendance and high maintenance costs. Traditional leaders of the Bangwa have been corresponding with the foundation requesting its return to Cameroon. Authors of the report, commissioned by President Macron, Senegalese writer and economist Fleury Sarr, and French historian Bénédicte Tsavo, have recommended that French law is changed to allow the return of the African art. Number 3. Zimbabwe bird stolen from Zimbabwe by Germany and Britain. A soapstone sculpture of a fish eagle in Zimbabwe's main national emblem. 8 of the Zimbabwe birds were looted from the ruins of an ancient city. Only 8 of the birds were ever recovered. They stood on the walls and monoliths of the ancient city built between 12th and 15th centuries by the ancestors of the Shona people. 7 of the carvings are in Zimbabwe since 2003, when the bottom section of one was returned by Germany. It had ended up in the hands of a German missionary who sold it to the Ethiopian Museum in Berlin in 1907. Then, after Soviet troops invaded Germany at the end of the World War II, it was moved from Berlin to Leningrad and remained there to the end of the Cold War, and then returned back to Germany. The 8th remains in the old bedroom of 19th century British imperialist Cecil Rhodes, whose home is the South African city of Cape Town, is now a museum. He had taken a number of birds from Great Zimbabwe to South Africa in 1906. South Africa returned 4 of them in 1981, a year after Zimbabwe gained its independence. Number 4. Timbuktu artifacts stolen from Mali by Britain. These artifacts were stolen by the British Empire. The British are the biggest looters when it comes to making away with West African treasures and are the greatest percentage of their museums. The Timbuktu artifacts, which represent a great history, culture and tradition of a people, did not escape their grip either. Number 5. Rosetta Stone stolen from Egypt by France. The 1.12 meter high Rosetta Stone in the British Museum is originally from Egypt and is a stela made out of granodiorite, which is a coarse-grained rock. It is a broken part of a bigger slab with text carved onto it that has helped researchers learn how to read Egyptian hieroglyphics, a form of writing that used pictures as signs. It features 3 columns of the same inscription in 3 languages: Greek, hieroglyphs, and Demotic Egyptian, and is the text of a decree written by priests in 196 BC during the reign of Pharaoh Ptolemy V. It is unclear how the stone was discovered in July 1799, but there is a general belief that it was found by soldiers fighting with the French military leader Napoleon Bonaparte as they were building an extension to a fort in the town of Rashid, also known as Rosetta, in the Nile Delta. When Napoleon was defeated, the British took possession of the stone under the terms of the Treaty of Alexandria in 1801. It was then transported to England, arriving in Portsmouth in February 1802. George III offered it to the British Museum a few months later. Number 6. Benin bronzes stolen from Benin and Nigeria by Britain. The Benin bronzes, which are actually made of brass, are a collection of delicately made sculptures and plaques that adorn the royal palace of the Oba or Varanwenye Nogbaisi in the Kingdom of Benin, which was incorporated into British-ruled Nigeria. They were carved out of ivory, brass, ceramic, and wood. Many of the pieces were cast off the ancestral altars of the past kings and queen mothers. In 1897, the British launched a punitive expedition against Benin in response to an attack on a British diplomatic expedition. Apart from bronze sculptures and plaques, innumerable royal objects were taken as a result of the mission and are scattered all over the world. The British Museum in London says many of the objects from Benin in its collection were given to it in 1898 by the Foreign Office and the Lords Commissioners of the Admiralty. In October 2019, top museums in Europe agreed to loan crucial artifacts back to Nigeria for the new Royal Museum, which it plans to open in 2021. Number 7. Man-eaters of Tsavo stolen from Kenya by Britain. These were 2 infamous lions from the Tsavo region in Kenya, East Africa, that killed and ate railway workers on the British-Kenyan Uganda at the end of the 19th century. The laborers were building the railway line between Mombasa and Lake Victoria over 9 months in 1898. The 2 killer beasts were eventually shot dead by British engineer Lieutenant Colonel John Patterson at the helm of the railway project. The stuffed lions were purchased from Patterson by the Field Museum of Natural History in the US city of Chicago in 1925 and catalogued in the museum's permanent collections. Lieutenant Colonel Patterson reported the lions' feeding frenzy took the lives of 135 railway workers and black Africans. But the Field Museum says later research conducted by scientists drastically reduced that estimate to 35. The Kenya National Museum wants the lions returned, but as usual, who expects them back without a long tussle? Number 8. The Cameroon mask stolen from Cameroon by Britain. Using the disguise of trade and cordial relationships, the British Empire was able to snatch these precious treasures from the people. These masks are now part of the collections of British treasures, but the people of Cameroon want them back. Number 9. Egyptian mummies stolen from Egypt by Britain, USA, and Canada. These mummies, which are a secret and important part of the Egyptian culture, are now scattered all over Britain, the USA, and Canada. The Egyptian government is putting in all efforts to return these mummies, but given they constitute a part of the displays in the countries, they are having a hard time to return them. Number 10. Nok Terrakotta stolen from Nigeria by Dutch and Belgium. This precious part of the Nigerian heritage was stolen by the Dutch and Belgium. These human figures often have very elaborate designs with jewelry. Apart from decorating the British and Dutch museums, the function or reason why the Westerners are holding on to these precious artifacts are unclear. There you have it, explorers. Those were the top 10 treasures stolen from Africa by colonialists. Thanks for watching this video. If you want us to cover any of your top 10 topics, leave your suggestions in the comments and we will do well to grant your request. Also, if you did enjoy this video, do well to give it a thumbs up. Do not forget to subscribe and share with your friends.